The skies above Zithra burned with light as enemy ships approached. Clouds of dark metal filled the horizon, blocking the twin suns. From the tallest tower of her crystal palace, Queen Nara watched silently. Her green-blue eyes reflected the flickering fire of distant explosions. She had ruled Zithra for decades, guiding her people through peace and war alike. Yet, today, even she felt the weight of fear. The enemy fleet was enormous. Thousands of ships moved like a living storm, and their weapons already tore through the outer defenses of the planet. Zithra's own fleets tried to meet them, but they were small in number, and their energy shields flickered under the enemy fire. Every minute the sky grew darker, every moment closer to the destruction of the Queen's people. Nara turned to her generals. Her voice was calm but strong. Prepare the planetary defenses. Evacuate the civilians. We may not survive this attack, but we will fight with everything we have. Her chief general, Valor, bowed, My queen. We will defend the palace with our lives. But the enemy's technology is unlike anything we have seen. Even our fastest ships are no match. Nara's jaw tightened. She knew it, too. Zithra had thrived for centuries because of its intelligence, strategy, and powerful energy weapons. But the enemy called the Kravari had numbers and machines that seemed unstoppable. Zithra could not win alone. Far away, in the quiet reaches of human space, a young warrior named Rin sat aboard his small but fast ship, the Stormfire. He had been training for this moment his entire life. Humans were not as large or strong as most alien species, but they had something else: adaptability, courage, and a will that refused to break. Rin's hand hovered over the controls as he watched a blinking red signal appear on his screen. It was a distress call. Not a normal one, it was a call from an unknown world, a world under attack. Rin frowned. The signal was old, delayed by light years, but the urgency in it was clear. Someone was asking for help, and the signal ended with words Rin did not understand. Still, he could feel the desperation. Without hesitation, Rin set the course. His ship leapt into faster-than-light travel, disappearing into the blackness of space. He knew the odds. He knew this could be impossible, but Rin had never turned away from a challenge, no matter how big. Back on Zithra, the first wave of enemy ships broke through the atmosphere. Explosions rocked the cities below. Civilians ran in panic, but the Queen's guards quickly formed barriers to shield them. Nara herself stood at the front of the palace, holding an energy staff that glowed with blue light. The Kravari ships fired beams of red energy. Buildings shattered. Trees were set ablaze. Nara raised her staff, forming a protective shield over the palace. The energy crackled, and the beams bounced harmlessly off. But she could see the strain on the shield. If it failed, the palace and everyone inside would be gone. Suddenly, a new flash of light appeared in the sky. A single small ship, much faster than any Zithran craft, raced through the enemy formation. It dodged lasers, weaving with impossible speed, and in moments, it began to hit the Kravari ship's back. Small explosions erupted on enemy hulls, and some ships spun out of control. Nara's eyes widened. She had never seen such speed and precision before. Who was this warrior? And how could such a small craft damage the enemy so quickly? Rin's voice came through the palace communications, translated by their universal device. Queen Nara, I am Rin. I have come to help you. Follow my lead, and we can stop them. Nara blinked. A human? She had heard of humans before. Small, fragile creatures, often underestimated in the galaxy. Could this one truly help against the Kravari? She studied Rin's ship as it moved with incredible skill. It was true, he was doing what no Zithran pilot could. Very well, she said to her generals. Trust him. If he can do this, we must follow. Rin led a daring strike through the enemy fleet. He used the terrain of the planet, diving through mountains and dodging asteroid fields. He found the weak points in the Kravari formation, areas that their massive ships could not protect. With careful strikes, he destroyed key engines and weapons platforms. The Zithran pilots, inspired by his actions, began to fight with renewed courage. For the first time in hours, hope returned. Civilians peeked from hiding. Watching the small human ship dart like lightning, the Queen herself felt a spark of relief. Perhaps all was not lost, yet Rin did not pause. He knew the danger. The Kravari were clever, and they would adapt quickly. He radioed back to Nara. Queen Nara, we need to work together. Your fleet can cover me while I strike at the command ships, if I can take them down. The enemy may retreat. Nara nodded. Do it. I will protect you. For the first time, a human and an alien queen fought side by side, removed with unmatched courage, risking his life to strike at the heart of the enemy. His small size, his quick thinking, and his refusal to give up made him unpredictable and deadly. The Kravari were thrown into confusion by the end of the day. The Kravari had suffered their first real losses. Many ships were destroyed, some were retreating, and their energy attacks had slowed. The planet of Zithra was still scarred, cities damaged and lives lost, but it had survived its first wave. Queen Nara approached Rin's ship as it landed near the palace. She stepped carefully on the ground, her guards standing close but silent. Rin climbed down from the cockpit, dust and sweat covering him, but his eyes were bright and alert. You are brave, Nara said. More than I expected. You have saved lives today, human. Rin smiled faintly. I only did what anyone should do. I couldn't watch and do nothing. Nara studied him closely. There was a strength in him, a fire that reminded her of Zithra's. Greatest warriors, but different, strange, unpredictable, and powerful in ways her people had never seen. Stay close, she said. Tomorrow, the Kravari will come back, and next time, they may be stronger. If you truly want to help, you must be ready to give everything. Rin nodded. I am ready. Queen Nara, I will not fail you or your people. As the sun set over the damaged cities of Zithra, a small human warrior stood beside an alien queen. Together, they had faced death and survived, and though the war was only beginning, hope had returned to a world that had nearly fallen, somewhere in the darkness of space. The Kravari watched silently, unaware that the arrival of a human would change the fate of Zithra forever. The morning sun rose over Zithra, casting golden light over the battered cities and shattered defenses. Smoke still curled into the sky from the battle of the previous day, but the people of the planet were alive for the first time in hours. They could breathe without fear. Yet Queen Nara knew the enemy would return, stronger than before. Rin stood outside the palace, stretching his legs after the long flight and the daring attack. He studied the alien city with quiet curiosity. The buildings were tall and smooth, built from crystal and metal that shimmered in the sunlight. Guards patrolled the streets with silent precision, but the civilians were already beginning to rebuild. They worked together calmly, guided by their queen's commands, even though danger still loomed. Queen Nara approached him, her robes flowing as she walked. Rin, she said, her voice calm but firm. We need to prepare. The Kravari are clever. They will not give up easily. I am ready, Rin replied. Show me what you need me to do. Nara studied him for a moment, then nodded. We must defend our planet, yes, but we must also understand our enemy. We cannot simply fight blindly. Your kind has different thinking. I hope it can help us. Rin smiled faintly. Different thinking is all I have. Let me see the enemy. Up close. The queen raised an eyebrow. You mean you want to go behind enemy lines? Exactly. Rin said, I can gather information, find weaknesses. It may give us a chance to strike before they fully attack. Nara considered this. She had led armies for decades, but she had never seen anyone move with such confidence, even against the impossible. Very well, she said, but you will not go alone. Thaler and a small team will accompany you. Do not underestimate the Kravari. Rin nodded. I do not underestimate anything. Within hours, Rin, Thaler, and a small squad of Zithran scouts launched a stealth mission in fast ships. They moved low through the atmosphere, skimming mountains and clouds. Avoiding enemy sensors, Rin guided them, showing unusual maneuvers and paths that the alien pilots had never considered. Impressive, Thaler said quietly. I have never seen a human move like this. They are small, yet fearless. Ren glanced at him. Size is not courage, General. Speed and strategy win battles, not strength alone. As they neared the enemy fleet, Ren pointed. They're the command ships. That is where the leaders are. Take those out, and the rest will be confused. Thaler nodded. We will follow your lead, human. But be careful. Many of those ships are guarded by thousands of soldiers. Ren studied the formation. I know. That is why we do not attack head-on. We will use diversion. Some ships will strike while others hide and circle. Timing is everything. The plan began. Small bursts of energy from Ren's ship distracted the enemy, while Zithran scouts slipped past shields. To attack weak points, explosions lit up the darkness of space. An enemy ship spun out of control. The Kravari tried to respond, but Ren had anticipated their moves, and they were always one step behind. Back on Zithra, Queen Nara monitored the battle from the palace. The communication screen showed Ren's daring tactics, and a sense of hope filled her chest. For the first time in decades, she saw the possibility of victory. She watched him guide her people with courage and calm, even as danger surrounded him. Suddenly, a warning flashed on the screen. Queen Nara, Akravari. Strike team is heading toward your palace. Nara's eyes widened. The enemy had not forgotten her. Ren, she called, return immediately. They are attacking my palace. Ren's ship twisted in the sky. I see it, but we can stop them before they reach you. Follow my signal. With precise timing, Ren led his small team into the path of the strike squad. Using clever maneuvers and explosive devices, they blocked the attackers, forcing them to retreat. The palace was safe for now. Nara exhaled slowly, relief mixing with admiration. He is not just brave, she said. He understands strategy in ways my people have never seen. Ren landed near the palace again, stepping out as civilians cheered quietly from a distance. He had no time to rest, but he allowed himself a small smile. Even though the battle was far from over, he felt that his presence made a difference. You did well, Nara said, walking beside him. But I must warn you, the Kravari will not give up. They will come back in greater numbers. You cannot fight alone, human. Will you stay and help us? Ren looked up at her, the twin suns reflecting in his eyes. I did not come this far to turn back. I will fight with you, Queen Nara, even if it costs everything. The queen nodded, a spark of respect and trust forming between them. Then, we will fight together. My people will follow, and we will stand as one. Perhaps even defeat an enemy that seemed unbeatable. That night, the skies were quiet, but tension remained. The citizens of Zithra repaired what they could, and the queen met with her leaders in Ren to discuss strategy. Ren studied the enemy patterns, noting weaknesses that the Zithran generals had overlooked. Your ships focus too much on power. Ren said, speed and unpredictability are their weakness. They think in lines and formations, but they cannot respond quickly to sudden changes. We can use that. Thaler frowned. It is true. Our fleets rely on precision. Perhaps we have been too predictable. Ren nodded. If we strike where they do not expect, we can turn the tide. But we must act before they adapt. Queen Nara placed a hand on his shoulder. Your courage and mine are as strong as your actions, Ren. Together, we may yet save Zithra. But know this, if we fail, the cost will be everything. Ren met her gaze. I understand. I will not let this world fall. Outside the palace, the twin moons of Zithra glimmered in the night sky. Stars stretched endlessly above, silent, witnesses to the courage of a human warrior and the alien queen he had sworn to protect. For the first time in many years, hope glimmered over a world that had nearly been lost. Somewhere in the darkness of space, the Kravari fleet regrouped, unaware that a single human could change the fate of an entire planet. And Ezran and Queen Nara prepared for the battles ahead. They both understood something vital: courage, wisdom, and unity could defy even the greatest odds. The morning skies over Zithra were tense and heavy with smoke from previous battles. Queen Nara stood on the balcony of her crystal palace, watching the horizon with narrowed eyes. The Kravari fleet had not given up. Reports from scouts indicated that the enemy was regrouping. repairing damaged ships, and preparing for an even larger attack. Rin stood beside her, arms crossed as he studied the view through the palace's energy screen. "They are stronger than before," he said calmly, though a sharp edge of concern was in his voice. "But they are still predictable. We can use that." Nara turned to him. "Predictable? They destroyed half our defenses yesterday. How can you say that?" Rin pointed to the energy display. "Watch their patterns. Every strike comes in waves. Every ship moves in formation. Their numbers are large, but their minds are not fast enough to react to sudden changes. That is where we can strike." Thaler, the chief general, stepped forward. "Do you mean to say we attack first?" "Yes," Rin replied. "We do not wait for them to make the next move. We take the fight to them, surprise them, and force them into mistakes." Nara studied him silently. Humans were small, fragile creatures, often underestimated by aliens. But this one, Rin, had courage, intelligence, and a mind that thought differently from anyone she had ever known. He was unusual, and perhaps the only hope Zithra had. Hours later, Rin and a squad of Zithran pilots prepared to leave. Their ships were small and fast, designed for speed rather than raw power. Rin briefed the pilots. "We move in groups of 3, he said. 2 ships distract their front lines. 1 ship strikes the command vessels. Timing is everything. Any hesitation, and we fail." The pilots nodded, some with skepticism, but they followed his orders. Rin climbed into his own ship, the Stormfire, feeling the familiar hum of energy beneath his hands. His heart beat steady. Fear existed, but it did not control him. He had faced impossible odds before, and he had learned that courage and focus could turn the tide of battle. As they approached the enemy fleet, the Kravari ships opened fire. Beams of red energy streaked across the sky, tearing apart small satellites and debris in space. Rin maneuvered skillfully, weaving between attacks, and guiding the Zithran pilots. "Focus on the weak points," Rin instructed. "Do not engage where they are strongest. Hit fast, hit hard, then pull back. We must survive to fight another day." The plan worked better than expected. The first wave of distraction ships caused confusion among the Kravari, forcing them to split their attention. Energy shields flickered as the enemy tried to respond. Rin took advantage of the chaos. He piloted the Stormfire through a narrow gap in the fleet, closing in on a massive command ship. Its hull was thick, its defenses strong, but Rin had seen a weakness: a small exhaust vent near the core. If he could reach it, even a small explosion would disable the ship. "Hold steady," he whispered to himself. "Now or never." Using every skill he had, Rin launched a precise attack. Missiles flew, striking the vent and creating a chain reaction inside the command ship. Flames erupted, systems failed, and alarms blared across the fleet. The Kravari were thrown into chaos. Their perfectly coordinated formation broke apart, and smaller ships collided in panic. Back on Zithra, Nara watched the battle unfold. "Incredible," she murmured. "He is doing what my fleet could not." Thaler nodded, a rare smile on his face. "Humans are unpredictable. Perhaps that is why they survive where others fail." Rin did not stop. He continued to strike at critical targets, using speed and strategy instead of brute force. He guided the Zithran pilots, teaching them to move differently, to think differently, slowly. The Kravari fleet began to retreat, damaged and disorganized. But then a warning flashed on Rin's console. A massive Kravari ship, larger than any they had faced, was moving directly toward the palace. It was armed with weapons capable of destroying entire city blocks. "They are aiming for the queen," Rin said, his voice tense but calm. "We must intercept it." Nara's eyes narrowed. "Go. Protect the palace. Do whatever it takes." Rin and a small squadron raced to meet the massive ship. Its energy beams fired continuously, tearing apart debris and smaller ships. Rin dodged with skill, drawing the enemy's fire while his squadron moved to flank it, distracted. "Keep it busy," Rin shouted through the comms. "I will find a way to stop it." He piloted closer, scanning the ship for weaknesses. Then he saw a control panel exposed near the rear, lightly defended. "There," he shouted. "Strike that panel. Everything depends on it. The Zithran pilots followed his command. Firing precise bursts at the exposed section, sparks flew, and the massive ship shuddered. Systems failed one by one. Finally, it stopped in space, engines dead. The Kravari began to retreat fully. No longer coordinated, their attacks faltering. For the first time, Zithra's defenders had a clear advantage. Civilians cheered in the streets, and the palace guards lowered their weapons. Exhausted but relieved, Orion landed near the palace once more, stepping out with a small group of pilots. The ground shook under their landing, but the air was filled with hope. Nara met him, her expression a mixture of respect and relief. "You have done more than I expected," she said. "Your strategies, your courage, you saved countless lives." Today, Rin shook his head. "I did not do it alone. Your people fought bravely. I only guided them to see what I saw." Nara smiled faintly. "You see what others cannot. That is a rare gift. I have fought many battles, but I have never met anyone like you, Rin. Perhaps humans are stronger than we imagine." Rin looked toward the horizon, where the remaining Kravari ships fled. "Strength is not just in power," he said. "It is in courage, teamwork, and not giving up, no matter the odds." That evening, the Queen held a council with her leaders and Rin. Plans were made to repair defenses and prepare for future attacks. Rin shared ideas that challenged Zithran's strategies, but also offered new hope. "Tomorrow, they may come back stronger," Rin said. "But if we continue to fight smart, we can protect this world. I will not leave Zithra until the Kravari are gone for good." Queen Nara placed her hand on his shoulder. "Then we will stand together. Human, your bravery inspires my people, and your mind guides our actions. Together, we may defeat an enemy no one thought we could." Outside the palace, the stars sparkled over Zithra, peaceful for the moment. The human warrior had proven himself, not only as a fighter, but as a mind that could see the enemy in ways the aliens could not. And somewhere in the depths of space, the Kravari fleet regrouped, unaware that the arrival of a single human had begun to change the course of the war. For the first time, hope was real, and the alien queen knew that as long as Rin stood with her, Zithra had a chance to survive. East skies of Zithra were quiet for only a few hours. Queen Nara stood on the highest balcony of her crystal palace, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. She could see small flashes of light far away. The Kravari were returning. Their ships were larger, faster, and more numerous than before. This time, there would be no easy victories. Rin stood beside her, studying the incoming fleet through the palace's energy screen. "They learned from yesterday," he said. "They will be more careful, more dangerous. But we can still stop them if we act fast." Nara turned to him. "Do you truly think we can?" Rin's eyes were steady. "I know we can. But we must fight together, and we must be willing to take risks." At that moment, alarms blared across the palace. The main screen showed a massive group of Kravari ships breaking through Zithra's outer defenses. Their energy beams struck with deadly accuracy, cutting through shields and tearing apart smaller buildings. "Queen Nara," Thaler shouted. "They are heading straight for the palace." Nara's jaw tightened. She had led her people through countless battles, but even she felt the weight of fear as she saw the enemy approaching. She turned to Rin. "We cannot survive this attack without taking the fight to them. Are you ready?" Rin nodded. "I'm ready." The human warrior leapt into action. He climbed into the cockpit of the Stormfire, signaling the Zithran pilots to follow. "Stay close," he instructed. "We strike fast, then pull back. Protect the civilians at all costs." The fleet moved with precision, dodging enemy fire while closing in on the attacking ships. Rin guided the pilots through narrow canyons and over mountain ridges, using the terrain to their advantage. The Kravari were skilled, but Rin's strategy was unpredictable, forcing them into confusion suddenly. A massive energy blast hit near the palace gates. Nara's guards raised shields, but the blast shattered part of the front wall. Civilians screamed and scattered. The queen's eyes widened. This was worse than anything she had anticipated. Rin saw the attack and shouted through the comms. "Queen Nara, move to the central chamber. I will cover your escape." Nara nodded. Trusting the human warrior completely, she ran with her guards through secret corridors. Past the terrified citizens, Rin's small fleet intercepted the incoming enemy, striking with speed and precision. The battle raged around them, flashes of light reflecting in the Queen's crystal towers. Even with Rin's tactics, the enemy was relentless. One massive Kravari ship broke through the defensive line, aiming directly for the palace's central chamber. Nera's guards formed a protective circle around her, ready to fight to the last breath. Rin's ship darted forward, weaving between enemy lasers. He fired carefully, targeting engines and weapon systems, but the enemy captain anticipated his moves. Explosions rocked the Stormfire, and Rin felt the ship shudder under the impact. "You cannot hold them alone," Thaler shouted over the comms. Rin's fingers danced over the controls. "I know, but I can give the Queen time." The massive Kravari ship was almost upon the palace. Its energy beam lit the sky with a deadly red glow. Nora could see the blast. Heading straight toward her, she clenched her staff, raising it to shield herself and her guards. But even her powerful energy barriers would not hold against a full strike. Then Rin acted. With a daring maneuver, he flew directly between the palace and the enemy ship, creating a diversion. His ship's engines flared brightly, drawing the massive beam away from the central chamber. The enemy fired again, but Rin twisted and turned, with impossible speed, keeping the beam focused on him and away from Nara. The Queen's guards gasped. They had never seen such courage. A single human, small and fragile, risked everything to save her life. Finally, Rin guided the Stormfire close, enough to fire a series of precise missiles at the enemy ship's core. The explosions lit the sky, shaking the ground beneath the palace. Systems failed, and the massive Kravari ship drifted uncontrollably. Unable to continue its attack, Nara exhaled slowly, relief washing over her. She turned to see Rin's ship, damaged but still intact, landing near the palace gates. He climbed out, dust and energy sparks covering him, but his eyes were bright and determined. "You saved my life," Nara said quietly, placing a hand on her staff for support. "I cannot believe a human could do this." Rin shook his head. "I only did what was necessary. No one should die while we still have a chance to fight." Thaler stepped forward. "Your courage is unmatched, Rin. Your mind is as strong as your actions. We owe you everything." Rin smiled faintly. "We all fight together. That is how we survive." The Queen looked around at the destruction, the damaged buildings, and the frightened citizens. She knew the enemy would return, stronger and more determined. But today, Zithra had survived. Today, a human warrior had proven that courage could change the course of a battle. Later that evening, Nara held a council in the palace's central chamber. Her generals and advisors gathered, their faces tense but hopeful. Rin stood among them, sharing strategies and plans to defend against the next attack. "You have shown us a new way to fight," Nara said. "Your ideas, your courage, they inspire my people. We may yet survive this war because of you." Rin looked at her, determination in his eyes. "We can survive, but we cannot stop now. The Kravari will come back. We must be ready to act again, and we must be willing to take risks no one else would." Nara nodded. She could feel a bond forming between them, one built on trust, respect, and a shared determination to protect life. She had never relied on a human before, yet she knew that Rin was different. Small or fragile he may be, but his heart and mind were strong beyond measure. Outside, the stars of Zithra's night sky glimmered over the city, peaceful for a moment. Rin stood at the balcony beside Nara, looking toward the distant horizon, where the Kravari fleet had retreated. "Do you think they will return tonight?" Nara asked quietly. Rin shook his head. "Not tonight, but soon, and when they do, we will be ready. We have survived today because we fought smart, together." The Queen studied him, a mixture of admiration and respect in her gaze. "Then we will fight together, human, for Zithra, for its people. And perhaps we will show the galaxy that courage and determination matter more than size or strength." Rin nodded. "I will not leave this world, not until the Kravari are gone." and your people are safe. As the moon rose over Zithra, its light reflected off the crystal towers, and for the first time in many months, hope felt real. A human warrior had risked everything to save an alien queen, and the people of Zithra saw that even the smallest among them could change the course of war. Somewhere in the depths of space, the Kravari fleet regrouped, unaware that a single human had already begun to change their plans. Rin's courage had not only saved lives, but had also sent a message to the enemy. Zithra would not fall easily, and with humans on their side, the impossible could become reality. The sun had barely risen over Zithra when the alarms rang again. This time, the warning was urgent and terrifying. A massive Kravari fleet, larger and more dangerous than ever, had entered the planet's orbit. Their ships were armed with new weapons capable of destroying entire cities with a single blast. Civilians ran in panic, and Queen Nera's advisors shouted orders to strengthen defenses. Rin stood in the command center, studying the incoming fleet through the energy screen. His jaw tightened. "This is worse than yesterday," he said. "They've adapted. They've learned our tactics." Nara came to his side, her expression serious but calm. "We have no choice. They must be stopped before they reach the palace. What do you suggest?" Rin's eyes scanned the enemy formation. "There's only one way to save everyone. I need to strike at the heart of their fleet. The main command ship controls the others. If it is destroyed, the fleet will be thrown into chaos." Thaler stepped forward. "But that ship is heavily guarded. If you attempt this, it may cost your life." Rin's face was steady. "I know the risk, but if I do not go, Zithra will fall. I cannot let that happen. I will give everything if I must." Queen Nara studied him closely. She had seen bravery before, but this was different. Rin was willing to risk himself for others, not for glory, but for life itself. She nodded slowly. "Then go, Rin. Save my people. Save Zithra. We will protect you as much as we can. But the final choice is yours." Rin climbed into the Stormfire, his hands steady on the controls. The small human ship was nimble, built for speed and precision rather than firepower. He signaled to the Zithran pilots to cover him. "Follow me carefully," he instructed. "We strike together, but I go first." The fleet moved into action. Kravari ships opened fire, their red energy beams tearing through the sky. Rin dodged with incredible skill, weaving through enemy fire. Explosions rocked the surrounding ships, but he pressed forward, focusing only on the command ship far ahead. "Keep them busy," Rin ordered his team. "I will handle the main target." The massive Kravari command ship was surrounded by dozens of smaller attack vessels. Its shields glowed bright blue, nearly impossible to penetrate. Rin studied it quickly, searching for a weakness. There was a small energy vent near the rear of the ship, lightly defended, but critical to the core. If he could reach it, he could disable the vessel. "Hold steady," Rin whispered. "Now is the only chance." The small human ship darted through the enemy fleet. Narrowly avoiding beams and explosions, Rin fired missiles with precise timing, striking the vent with deadly accuracy. Sparks flew, alarms blared, and the command ship shuddered. But the explosion was not enough. It needed a final strike to destroy the core. Rin glanced at the screens. The vent was exposed again, but the path was narrow and dangerous. "I have to go inside," he muttered. He activated the ship's entry protocols and launched toward the enemy vessel, entering a small docking tunnel that led directly to the core chamber. Inside the massive ship, everything was dark and filled with smoke. Rin's small frame allowed him to move quickly, avoiding Kravari guards and traps. His heart pounded, but his mind stayed clear. Every step mattered. Every second counted. Finally, he reached the core. A series of energy nodes hummed with power. Rin carefully planted explosives, timing them to detonate at the perfect moment. He could hear enemy soldiers approaching, their footsteps heavy and loud. Outside, the battle raged. Zithran pilots followed Rin's instructions, keeping the rest of the Kravari fleet occupied. The palace was protected for now, but time was short. Ian activated the timer on the explosives. "This ends now," he whispered. He raced back toward the docking tunnel, but Kravari soldiers blocked his path. Beams fired, sparks flew, and Rin dodged with skill, narrowly escaping capture. The tunnel shook as the core exploded behind him, flames roared, and the massive ship began to break apart. Outside, the remaining Kravari ships faltered. Without, their command ship, chaos spread through their fleet, smaller vessels collided, engines failed, and the retreat began. Rin emerged from the wreckage, battered but alive, and flew back to Zithra. Queen Nara watched through the palace screens as the human ship returned. Her heart leapt with hope and relief. She had feared losing him, yet here he was, standing victorious. Orion landed near the palace gates, stepping out to greet the cheering crowd. Civilians ran forward, smiling and clapping, while the guards lowered their weapons in awe. Thaler approached, shaking Rin's hand. "You have done the impossible," he said. "Zithra owes you its life." Rin shook his head. "I only did what had to be done. Your people fought bravely too. Together, we won." Nara stepped forward, placing her hand on Rin's shoulder. "You have given everything for my people, human. Your courage and sacrifice will not be forgotten. Today, you did more than any warrior I have known." Rin smiled faintly. "I will not leave until your planet is safe. If the Kravari return, I will stand with you again. Always." The queen nodded, admiration and respect shining in her eyes. "Then we are truly allies, Rin. Together, we will face whatever comes next." That evening, Zithra was alive. Buildings had been damaged and lives had been lost, but the planet survived. Stories of the human warrior spread through the cities, inspiring hope in every citizen. People whispered of Rin's courage, and even the soldiers who had fought alongside him felt stronger, braver, and ready for the battle still to come. Orion, tired but unwavering, stood at the balcony beside Queen Nara. The twin moons of Zithra glimmered in the night sky, casting soft light over the recovering city. He looked at the stars, thinking of the vast galaxy beyond, filled with dangers yet unknown. "Do you think they will come back?" Nara asked quietly. Orion shook his head. "Perhaps, but we will be ready. Today, we learned something important. Courage and determination can change the impossible. Even the smallest among us can make a difference." Nara smiled. "Then let us prepare. The galaxy may have underestimated humans, but now we know your strength, and I will make sure Zithra never forgets it." For the first time in many years, hope was real. A human warrior had risked everything, defying odds, saving a planet, and proving that courage could cross the boundaries of species. And somewhere in the shadows of space, the Kravari fleet regrouped once more, unaware that one human had already begun to change the fate of an entire world. The morning air over Zithra was calm, almost peaceful. Birds chirped in the rebuilt gardens, and the citizens went about their daily lives, repairing homes and helping each other. Yet, beneath this calm, Queen Nara felt a weight in her chest. The battle had been won, but the scars, both physical and emotional, remained. Rin stood at the palace gates, watching the recovery. His body bore scratches and burns from the last fight, but his spirit remained strong. He moved among the citizens, helping where he could, giving instructions for repairs, and ensuring that no one felt abandoned, even though he was human, small. Among the towering Zithrans, his presence brought hope. Queen Nara approached him, her robes brushing softly against the stone floor. "You have done more than any of us could imagine, Rin," she said, her voice gentle but filled with gratitude. "Zithra owes you its life." Rin shook his head. "I only did what I had to. You and your people fought bravely too. Without that, none of this would be possible." The queen studied him for a moment. "Your courage, your willingness to risk everything, it is unlike anything I have ever seen. Humans are underestimated in the galaxy, yet you prove that even the smallest among us can change the fate of worlds." Rin smiled faintly. "Courage does not depend on size or strength. It depends on the will to act when it matters most." The palace's council chamber buzzed with activity. Advisors, generals, and citizens came to discuss how to rebuild, how to strengthen defenses, and how to prepare for the possibility of the Kravari returning. Rin stood among them, offering insights based on what he had learned during the battles. His ideas were different, unusual, and sometimes risky, but they worked. Thaler, the chief general, nodded in approval. Your strategies have changed the way we fight. Our fleets are faster, more unpredictable. The Kravari will not know what to expect next time. Rin crossed his arms. We must also teach the civilians. Everyone can contribute in some way. Even small actions can make a big difference when coordinated. As the day progressed, Nara and Rin walked through the city. Children ran past them, laughing and playing, unaware of the danger that had once hovered above their heads. Markets reopened, merchants shouted prices, and the smell of food filled the air. Life had returned, but it was a life that had been almost stolen. Nara stopped, near a small fountain, her eyes reflecting both relief and thoughtfulness. You risked yourself to save Zithra, she said softly. Did you ever fear for your life? Rin paused, looking at the water's shimmering surface. Fear is natural, but it cannot control you. I acted because I knew if I did not, thousands would die. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting despite it. The queen nodded slowly. I see now why humans can achieve so much. Your determination, your willingness to face impossible odds, it is inspiring. Even as peace settled over Zithra, news of Rin's heroics spread beyond the planet. Messages traveled through the galaxy, carried by ships and signals. Aliens from distant worlds whispered of the human warrior who had saved an entire planet. Some admired him, some feared the idea that a small species could hold such strength, and others simply wondered what other surprises humans might hold. That evening, Nara held a ceremony in the palace courtyard. Citizens gathered, their faces hopeful and grateful. The sky was painted with the light of twin moons, reflecting in the crystal towers. Rin stood at the front, beside the queen. As she addressed her people, "Today, Zithra stands alive," she said, her voice carrying across the courtyard. "We owe this to bravery, determination, and unity. And one among us showed extraordinary courage, a human named Rin. He risked everything to save our world. Let his actions remind us all that no matter who we are, we can make a difference." The crowd erupted in cheers. Rin nodded humbly, accepting their gratitude but not seeking praise. He had done what he believed was right, and that was enough. Later, as the crowd dispersed, Nara and Rin walked along the palace gardens. The air was calm, filled with the scent of flowers and the soft hum of energy lights. Nara stopped, looking at Rin with sincere admiration. "You have changed Zithra," she said, "not just by your actions in battle, but by the hope you have given our people. They will not forget this." Rin looked at her. "I will not leave until your planet is safe. I promise that, and I mean it. We face the future together, whether the Kravari return or any other threat appears." Nara smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. "Then you are truly a friend to Zithra, Rin. And more than that, you are a part of its story now." The stars began to rise over Zithra, reflecting the calm after the storm. Yet Rin knew this peace might not last forever. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers, and the Kravari had not been destroyed, they had only been delayed. Still, for the first time in many years, Queen Nara felt hope that her people could survive, thrive, and even prosper, and she knew that Rin's presence had changed something profound. A single human warrior had shown that courage and determination could defy even the greatest threats. Rin stood quietly beside the queen, looking at the stars. He thought of home, of human worlds far away, and of the challenges that still lay ahead. But he also thought of Zithra, a planet filled with life, hope, and now a chance to grow stronger. "Do you ever think about what comes next?" Nara asked softly. Rin smiled faintly. "Always. But I know one thing together. We can face whatever comes. Courage, unity, and determination are stronger than any weapon." The queen nodded. She could see it clearly now. Humans, small and underestimated by most species, possess something extraordinary, the power to inspire, to act with courage, and to change the course of events in ways no one expected. As night fully settled over Zithra, Rin and Queen Nara stood side by side, looking toward the horizon. The battle had been won, but the lessons remained. Hope, courage, and unity had triumphed over fear and destruction. And somewhere in the dark reaches of space, the Kravari fleet continued to move, unaware that a human warrior had already proven that even the smallest among them could hold the fate of worlds in their hands. Zithra was alive, its people safe, and the galaxy had begun to learn a truth it had often ignored. Humans were more than they seemed. The sky over Zithra was calm, but a quiet tension lingered. Queen Nara stood on the palace balcony, looking toward the horizon. The Kravari fleet had not been destroyed, they had retreated, but Nara knew it was only a matter of time before they returned. Orion joined her, leaning on the balcony railing. His body bore marks from battles past, but his eyes were clear and determined. They will come back, he said simply. Nara nodded. Yes, and next time, they may bring everything they have. We cannot wait for them to strike again. We must be ready and study the horizon, analyzing the possibilities. We need to strike first, and decisively, not just to defend Zithra, but to show the Kravari that this planet and its people will not fall. Thaler approached them, his expression serious. Your strategies have changed how we fight, Rin. We are ready to follow your plan. But this may be the final battle. We must be careful. Rin nodded. Careful is not enough. We need courage, speed, and unity. Everyone must fight together. And we must use the advantage of surprise. Timing is everything. The palace bells rang, signaling the arrival of the Kravari fleet. Massive ships darkened the skies, their engines glowing with deadly energy. Civilians had been evacuated to safe zones, and Zithran defenders took their positions, weapons ready. Queen Nara placed a hand on Rin's shoulder. Whatever happens, know this: you have changed Zithra forever. Your courage has given hope to all of us. Rin smiled faintly. Then let's make sure that hope survives. The first wave of Kravari ships descended, firing beams that tore across the valley. Zithran defenses responded, energy shields flashing and beams countering attacks. Rin led the first squadron, darting through the enemy lines, striking at weak points with precision. His maneuvers were unpredictable, forcing the Kravari into chaos. Thaler commanded the main fleet, coordinating attacks and protecting the civilians. Queen Nara oversaw the battle from the palace, using her powers to strengthen shields and assist the fighters. Yet even with their combined efforts, the enemy was relentless. A massive Kravari command ship appeared, larger and more dangerous than any they had faced. Its energy cannons fired continuously, targeting key defenses. Rin studied it carefully. This is it, he muttered. If we take out that ship, the rest will be scattered. But it will not be easy. He signaled to Thaler. We need a diversion. The main fleet will distract their forces while I go for the core. Timing is critical. The Zithran fleet moved as Rin instructed, attacking from multiple angles and forcing the enemy to split their attention. Rin's ship, the Stormfire, moved with incredible speed, dodging beams and weaving through explosions. He reached the docking tunnel leading to the enemy command ship, entering the massive vessel with precision. Inside, the ship's quarters were dark and filled with smoke. Rin navigated quickly, avoiding guards and traps. Every step was calculated. Every move mattered. He reached the central core chamber, the heart of the command ship. Energy nodes hummed with deadly power. Orion placed explosives carefully, timing them to detonate in perfect sequence. He knew that even a single mistake could cost not just his life, but the lives of everyone depending on him. Outside, the battle raged. Zithran pilots followed his instructions, keeping the remaining Kravari fleet distracted. The palace shields held, but barely. Every second Rin spent inside the command ship was a second closer to disaster for Zithra. Finally, Rin activated the timer on the explosives. It's time, he whispered to himself. The core exploded in a massive blast, shaking the vessel violently. Alarms rang, fires spread, and the ship began to break apart. Rin ran toward the docking tunnel, but enemy soldiers blocked his path. Beams fired, sparks flew, and he dodged with skill, moving as fast as his small body allowed. At the last moment, Rin reached the exit. jumping into the ship just as the command ship exploded behind him. The shockwave rocked the storm fire, but Rin's skill kept him steady. Outside, the remaining Kravari ships faltered. Engines failing and weapons offline, the enemy fleet scattered in retreat. Queen Nara watched in awe. "He did it," she whispered. "He saved us again." Rin landed near the palace gates. His ship battered but intact. He climbed out, exhaustion written across his face. Yet his eyes remained bright. Civilians and soldiers alike cheered. Their hope renewed. Thal or approached him, clapping Rin on the shoulder. "You have done what no one else could. Zithra lives because of you." Rin shook his head. "We all fought together. That is how we survived." Queen Nara stepped forward, placing a hand on Rin's shoulder. "You have given everything, human. Your courage and sacrifice will be remembered forever. Today, you are not just a warrior, you are a hero, a part of Zithra itself." Rin smiled faintly. "I did not fight for glory. I fight because it is right, because people deserve to live. And hope is worth protecting." The citizens of Zithra gathered, celebrating their survival. The palace towers glimmered under the twin moons, reflecting the light of victory. Stories of Rin's bravery spread, inspiring others to believe in courage and determination. Even the smallest and weakest could make a difference if they acted. With heart, later, Nara and Rin stood together in the palace gardens, the night calm around them. "Do you think they will return?" she asked softly. Dire shook his head. "Not for a long time. Today, they learned that Zithra cannot be taken easily. And we learned something too, that courage and unity can change the impossible." Nara looked at him with admiration. "Humans are underestimated in the galaxy. But you have shown that even a single human can hold the fate of worlds in their hands." Rin smiled. "It is not just me. It is all of us working together. That is what makes the difference." The queen nodded, understanding clearly now the truth of his words. Rin's courage, intelligence, and determination had not only saved Zithra, but had also taught her people a lesson they would never forget. The heart of a warrior can defy even the greatest threats. As the stars shone above, the galaxy seemed a little smaller, a little more connected, and a little more aware of human strength. Rin and Queen Nara stood side by side, looking at the horizon. The battles were over for now, but the bond formed in fire and courage would last forever. Zithra was alive, its people safe, and its future hopeful. And in the vast reaches of space, the message was clear: humans were not to be underestimated. Courage, unity, and determination could change the fate of worlds, and one human warrior had proven it beyond any doubt.